Everything's all blurry. I can hear my heartbeat, as if it's a car engine gradually coming to life. Usually, you wake and your heartbeat is just there, as it always has been. But mine now is as if it's been sleeping along with me. This immediately unsettles me, before I even remember the situation at hand, if my memory serves me correctly. Again, Madame President is in my face. It's because of the fish, Bray cries. Please don't hate me. I murmur something in response, my eyesight still blurry. Stop it, her assistant chimes, seemingly exasperated by her dramatic words. His name is Paul Montgomery something. Paul, she obviously hates me. Look at how she's peering at me. All hate and no love. It's not right, says the president. Well, just be patient, Bray. You don't know the full extent of what's happened to her, Paul replies. And Bray is probably right. I am giving her an evil glare, even in my stupor. I hate her in this act so much. I murmur again, trying to regain control of my lips. The Guantan fellow moves the hysterical president to the side and kneels in front of me. He's more my size now. For some reason I wince and say, Please don't put me to sleep again. You stopped my heart. I won't, I promise, though your heart is fine, and please don't run off again, because then I may have to put you to sleep once more. Not that I want to. I wrinkle my nose. Fine. I can see that the assistant is eyeing me, so I return the favour in the scariest fashion I can muster. Paul drops his gaze as if he is shy and awkward, instead of mean and sneaky. What is your name? Grantan asks me. My name? I reply with a resentful scoff, as if he doesn't already know. Yes, I'd like to know your name, he answers gently. I meet his eyes for a moment, and then look away. I realise for the first time I'm in the same room in which I started, propped with my legs up on a soft blue couch. For some reason I thought I was standing and facing the robed man, but he's actually kneeling at my side. My head is now turned from him. He sighs gently as he rises to his feet. Can we restore her now? Says Paul. Restore me to what? I snap in return. I catch a glance of Madame President's face, and my reaction appears to put tears in her eyes. Yes, Guantan, just do it. I can't bear this, she says. No, he replies, it's far too soon. We don't know what she's been through, except for extreme loss and terrible grief. Evidence suggests that the loss of one of her parents may have occurred. How dare you? I scream, causing my throat to scratch. How dare you bring up my parents? Please, the president weeps, please just show them to her. Guantan gives in and turns his attention to me. Lenka, stay here. I'll be back before you know it. I thought you didn't know my name. I'm going to speed up the rehabilitation process for you, sweetie, says Bray, through her tears, confusing me further. I open my mouth to scream, and as I do, I screw my eyes and let out the most wretched noise I've ever made. When I open my eyes again, I see Bray standing with her hands over her ears and her head hung low and still crying for some reason. Her assistant is nowhere to be found. I make a split-second decision. The sleepmaker is no longer here. I can see my exit. This time I'll make it. I launch myself off the couch and dart across the room, only to barge into something solid, which quickly wraps itself around me, and something else covers the rest of me and squeezes my body. I struggle and scream until I hear something familiar, something so lodged in my memory it comes back to haunt me. I try to push it away, making the act physical, but my parents continue to hold me, and they cry over me. I can hear the president weeping too. Now I start to smell things, and I start to hear things. It wasn't real, Lenka. It wasn't real. Whatever it wasn't real. What wasn't real? I ask violently, completely lost to the moment, and without any idea what's going on. I have no control. It was one of the lost treasures, someone says to me. What are you talking about? I snap. Why isn't she remembering? My mother asks, clearly talking about me. I can't say. I don't know, Guantan replies. I rip myself free from the embrace and stand alone in the centre of the room. Daughter, it wasn't real, says my father again. I stare at him incredulously. Guantan, what's happening? Bray chimes. Have I hurried the process? Have I made a mistake? Is Lenka okay? I'm not sure. Usually the memories come back in a sudden flood. Even if we have rushed, she should be remembering. It would only be more painful than necessary, but she should be remembering. I look between my parents, the evil president and her magical freak. What the hell is going on? I whisper. What did you say, Lenka? My mum replies. I said, what the hell is going on? Can't you remember? My dad says with yearning in his voice, as he takes one step closer to me. No, I state shortly. What do we do? Bray worries. I don't know, Guantan says again. You do recognize us, don't you? My parents ask me simultaneously. I almost feel like laughing. I start to question the existence of existence, which I don't recommend doing when you're face to face with your undead parents. My head swells and I begin to feel faint. Is that man putting me to sleep again? Keep your mouth shut, I tell him, but his mouth wasn't open in the first place, though his lips played quizzically. He seems genuinely sad, as does Madame President. She hasn't stopped crying. The assistant is still nowhere to be seen. My undead parents are clearly in agony. I open my mouth. I close my mouth. What's my favourite colour? Black, my dad replies immediately. We tried to coax you away from black, but your emo phase persisted. And what do I want to become when I'm older? I want to be a lead singer in a band, says Evandy, my mother. What kind of band? Rock? She chimes in the usual manner. All right. Where do I go from here? They appear and talk like my parents. I'm sure the Yellow House is capable of producing this kind of mimicking technology, but then they wouldn't know the details to such a level, surely. I decide to keep it simple. Someone explain to me plainly what is happening to me. Why is she crying? What's this about a fish? And why are my parents back from the dead? I ask these questions in a jovial manner, as if I'm happy, when really, I'm terrified to my core. Guantan is clearly the one in the know, or a talented trickster. He's the one who takes on the task of explaining all of this to me. Sadly, he starts off the explaining by asking another confusing question. Has seeing your parents today not triggered any memories to return to you? Memories of what? Their deaths? They never died, Bray whimpers. I asked you to explain, not to confuse me further, I retort. That's the problem, says Guantan, lowering himself to my height again. We can't unless you remember at least something, like the lost treasures. I shake my head. You don't remember Madame President's speech about how there are lost treasures spread throughout the city, stolen and hidden by members of the organization True Rain. You mean to say True Rain are back in the city, I ask. Who are True Rain to you? Guantan replies. Heroes, I say confidently. Guantan pauses and shares a glance with Bray. The full explanation then arrives. The reality you lived in before now wasn't real. It was a trick played by one of the treasures, a fish. The fish treasure belongs beyond the gateway in the Gateway 4 realm. It is one of our most dangerous treasures. You're one of the many who were affected by it, Lenka. As a master of rehabilitation, I've been helping the victims back into normalhood. And every time I've been able to coax back the victims' memories of their true reality before their fake reality stole it from them. You were in a catatonic state in your bedroom when your parents found you and brought you here to our rehabilitation center. You're not in the center now, but you were when we were running tests and you were in your coma. All of this is the fault of True Rain, who are a terrorist organization. After I'm told all of this, I gaze around the room at all the bright colors, the weeping president, my living parents, and the strange, sometimes funny furnishings. One thing's for sure, this isn't the Yellow House I know and hate. Bray, how do you feel about time travel? I ask simply. I couldn't be bothered to debate whether this was a good question, or a life-ending one. Time travel? She says. Why? I love time travel. I take a moment to think. There's no way the Bray I know could be so enthusiastic about, well, anything. I now notice for the first time she has a yellow stripe in her dark hair. She hadn't had that when standing on the declaration stage, ordering my death. I stare at it for a moment, hoping it might turn into a giraffe so my theory of being in a dream is confirmed. No giraffe appears, and I'm left with one thought. Are they really telling the truth? Have I really been living in some fake reality, made up by some dumb fish, only to come back into a reality where my memories won't return to me? Why don't you show me outside then, I taunt. If what you say is true, everything should be different, right? Guantan nods but tells me, it might be too much for you to handle. I can handle it, I answer. I'm shown to the door, and I stand in front of the threshold, facing the city filled with colour. And where's the daunting promenade? Instead, there's only a short path leading into busy civilization, as if the president enjoys being close to the general public. I watch fun-looking cars drive by and happy pedestrians walk by in a casual way. It's all true. I'm lost in the real world. It isn't long before I'm staring into the eyes of the president again. She explains that no, she doesn't hold a yearly census. Instead, every year she hosts something called the Hunger Games. I question what is the Hunger Games. As she explains, I start to sweat until she tells me she's joking, and I almost punch her in the face. My feelings toward her have not been resolved in any shape or form, but I can at least stand holding a hostile conversation with her. What is this idiotic fish treasure? Does it time travel? I ask in a hostile manner. Time travel? Bray ponders. Well, yes, it does really, or it could, I guess. It can definitely manipulate space and space-time, for sure. And that doesn't piss you off? What's it with you and time travel? Bray asks me with a chuckle. What's it with me and time travel? I scoff. You're joking, right? Why was I so obsessed with time travel in your fake reality? Bray wonders. I mean, there was plenty of rumour surrounding the reasons, but who cares? It wasn't real, I shout, slouching deeper into my chair, which was in the control room in the rehabilitation centre. The master was just fetching me some test results so I could see them for myself. Here you go, Lenka, he said, when handing them over. Bray hadn't spoken to me since I snapped at her again. Apparently I'd hurt her feelings because she'd started tearing up again. In my hands are sheets of blurry glass. They don't look much like test results to me. What is this? I ask. A joke? Oh, pooh, sorry. Guantan apologizes, whipping a controller out of his silky trouser pocket and pressing something on it. I frown, but suddenly the blurriness becomes clear, and it's like I'm holding a weird version of a computer pad, but entirely made of glass. On the pad are spiky readings, and bars and graphs. Part of me goes absent, and I wonder how expensive these bizarre computer pads are. Nobody was allowed stuff like this where I'm from, in my fake world. I peer more closely at my test results, reading the titles of the graphs and swiping to find data on my brain activity. I can't make sense of it, so I keep on swiping. I come to a piece of video footage. I lift my head to find Bray and Guantan staring at me. What's this? I ask, lifting the glass sheet to show them the video. For a brief moment, I was able to capture a moving image in your mind's eye. I was able to see what you were seeing in your fake world, the master tells me. I quickly press play, and for a second I observe that grey world again, and that far-off tower beyond my window where I would sit and exist, without purpose. Oh no, I whisper. The truth finally hits home. Bray comes close, and for the first time I'm able to meet her eyes in a half-pleasant way. We only want to help. It's all we're really here for, she says. We're here to help. Public servants at their best, she finishes with a quirky smile. I struggle not to burst out laughing, partly because of hysteria, partly because I actually find her funny, but I can't put my finger on why. Had she even told a joke? I guess it sounded like a joke to me, after all. I've never seen a public servant at their best. Never, never, never. She smiles at my smile, and I'm captured in her gaze for a second or two. Her eyes are green and kind, instead of malevolent and evil, and they hold mischief instead of anarchy. You ever watch the Harry Potter movies? Huh? I say in reply. You ever seen the lightning scar on the silver screen? The lightning scar? Quantan, she's never seen Harry Potter. Yes, Bray, but I really don't think now is the... Lenka, the president burst. Lenka, we must watch Harry Potter. Just wait a second, Bray, Guantan tries. But it's too late. She grabs my hand, and I'm not strong enough to pull away. Her maniacal but friendly laugh echoes through the halls as she pulls me toward the nearest home theatre. I imagine Grantown let out an audible sigh, knowing there was nothing he could do to stop his country's leader, Bray, the woman with a yellow stripe in her hair.